So as we discussed, today we will be taking on the second algorithm, that is your Smith-Waterman algorithm. So Smith-Waterman algorithm is used for local alignment. It is for local alignment. Now, in case of local alignment, as we discussed earlier while discussing about sequence alignment, local alignment usually looks for the segmental similarity. That means rather than looking into the entire length of these both sequences, it looks for if there are sequence similarity in certain specific segments. Normally it is done when one particular sequence is much smaller than the other one. That means length of one sequence is very low in comparison to the other. So one is a short sequence and the other one is a long sequence. Then the short sequence may align at any particular segment in the long sequence, and that can be determined by local alignment. So there are certain, so to say, specific rules to be followed in this particular algorithm, Smith-Waterman algorithm. So this is a slight modification from the Needleman-Wunsch algorithm. When you know about the Needleman-Wunsch algorithm, it becomes easy for you to understand this algorithm also. But these are the rules to be followed. What are the modifications? Number one, no negative values are allowed. So in the entire table, we will not allow any negative value. But by way of calculation, we can get negative values, as we already know. So second rule says the negative values are to be replaced by 0. If we get a negative value, the highest value among the three, if it is negative, then we will replace it by 0 without considering anything. Okay? Then the third rule is that backtracking of the origin, which normally starts from the largest value, that should be taken into account by considering both last column and the last row. The highest value which we derive by calculation, highest among the values in the last row or the last column should be taken into account. It may be in last row or it may be in last column. What is the highest value? That will be taken into account for backtracking the root of the different values. So as we did for the Needleman-Wunsch algorithm. Then after determining the point from which it should be started, then we find the path of the value and then align the sequences based on the directions of the arrows as done in Needleman-Wunsch algorithm. Rest is same. Basically, there are three important rules, 1, 2, and 3 that we must have to understand and follow. Now, the calculation that we do for finding out a particular value in a cell, as we discussed in the last class, that comes by 3 ways, as we already know. That can be expressed in terms of an equation like this. So this is the real equation used in the algorithm. While the dynamic programming for computer is made for a alignment tool or alignment software, they take into account this kind of mathematical equation. So what does it say? Xij. So X stands for any value in the ith column, jth row. Okay, ith column and jth row. If this I is the column number, j is the row number, then the position at which ith column coincides with the jth row, the value, that is X, will be determined as the largest value among these three. So what are the three values? Number one, X I minus 1j. That means X, the value of the previous cell in the column, in the previous column, what was the value? I minus 1, and in the jth row, plus gap. Then similarly, in terms of second value, Xij minus 1. So the previous row with same column, what was the value? Plus gap. Then I minus 1, j minus 1, previous column and previous row, where it is matching the diagonally the cell. What is the score? Plus the score of match or mismatch. So this is the real equation which is followed. So the same equation will also follow in terms of the Smith-Waterman algorithm. There is no difference. Now here, certain other changes we will make. Suppose these are the two sequences that we want to align. As I said, normally in the case of local alignment, one particular sequence is lesser in length compared to the other. And in that case, we do go for local alignment. You see here, this is the shorter sequence, this is the longer sequence. We are going to align it. As we did previously, we are placing the two sequences, one in row and one in column. So in the first row and first column, we have placed the sequences. Then we have left the first two cells in the row as well as the column as we did earlier. And this is the starting point. It starts with 0. That we already know. Now here, another difference we are making, another variation we are making in terms of the scoring matrix. Instead of taking 1 for match, 0 for mismatch, and -1 for gap, as we did in case of the earlier method, Needleman-Wunsch algorithm, here we are taking +2 for match, -1 for mismatch, and -2 for gap. Why we have done this change? Because as we know that if we get any negative value, the value will be replaced by 0. So on principle, we should not take any 0 value for either match, mismatch or gap. Otherwise, there will be confusion whether it is due to a particular score of a particular pattern or due to the calculated value. Is it clear? So that's why we have changed the values. Match score +2, that means it is very similar. Matching means highly similar, so it is +2. Mismatch means no similarity, so there is a negative score because there is no similarity. And gap is harder dissimilar, so there will be more negative score, -2. So that is the scale that we are taking. Now, as we did in the previous Needleman-Wunsch algorithm, all the values in the second row were started from here after 0, -1, -2, -3 like that. Similarly here also -1, -2, -3, if you remember. So here all these values will be 0 automatically. You can directly put it without calculation. But really speaking, these are actually calculated values. But because there are no values in the upper cell, so these are actually appearing as 0 only. As you see, let us calculate for 1 or 2. Suppose this cell, how it has become 0. So the value for this cell can come from this, but here there is no value. So it will be simply -1. So it will be 0. Then here it is 0. The value here will be 0 -2. It will be 0. Sorry, not -1, -2. So -3 is replaced by 0. Similarly, here there is no value. Therefore, also it will be 0. So this 0 has come because it is the first cell and there is no value diagonally, neither there is a value in the previous cell, in the previous row. So like that, in each of these cells in this row, the values, if you count, it will be 0. Similarly, in this column also, all the values will be 0. So I'm not going to show it. You calculate it out, it will be always 0. So then let us start from here. Now here again, the value can come from the upper cell. If it comes from upper cell, it will be 0 -2. That means this value plus gap penalty. So 0 -2 is a -2. -2 should be replaced by 0 if we consider that. Then here it is 0 -2, it will be 0. Here it will be 0. This particular cell is 0. Then there is a no match, mismatch. Again it is -1. So -1 is also should be replaced by 0. So by all the three ways, it is a negative figure. But we cannot put in a negative figure on principle, so we have replaced it as 0. Clear? So then you go to the second. Same thing will happen here also. All these values are 0 like the previous one, so it will be also 0. Then the third one, if you go here, if we consider this one, the value will be 0 -2, so it should be replaced by 0. Here also 0 -2, it should be replaced by 0. But here there is a match, T to T. So matching score is 2. So it will be 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. So 2 is the highest or largest value, so it is 2. Then come to the next. So it is again minus 2 here, so it will be 0. Here again minus 1, it will be 0 because it is a mismatch, so minus 1 will be 0. But here it will be 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. So from all sides it is 0, so it is 0. Clear? So like that, you can calculate it out. All these figures have been obtained. I have already calculated all these figures by following this procedure or this principle. Is there any question till now? Is it okay for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then come to the next. So out of all these figures, then what we will do, we will see the last column and the last row. After doing all calculations, we will go to last row and last column. And out of the values in last row and last column, what is the highest value? Here, it is the highest value. 7 is the highest value among the cells in the last row and last column. So 7 is the highest value. So unlike the previous one in Needleman-Wunsch, where we start calculating from this particular cell, the last cell, here we will not start from there. Backtracking will be started from the highest value among the cells in the last column and last row. So this is the cell from which we will do backtracking. Now first let us consider where from this 7 has come. If we consider this cell, the value here from this cell will be 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. Similarly, it will also be 1 from here. So it cannot be obtained from either upper cell or left cell. But when you calculate from this cell, 5 is the original value, then Z to Z, there is a match. Sorry, here.
C to C.
Sorry, here. C to C. C to C, there is
C to C.
C to C. C to C, there is a match. So because C to C is a match, so it will be taking the match score plus 2. So 5 plus 2 is equal to 7. So 7 we have obtained from 5. So we will trace it back. 7 has been obtained from 5. Similarly, if we backtrack the value of 5, again you will find that if we take it from here, 4 minus 2 will be 2. 1 minus 2 will be minus 1, so it will be 0. And if we take into consideration this cell, so there is again a match T to T. So match score is 2, so 3 plus 2, 5. Okay, so this is obtained from here. But in this case, this 3 is obtained from this cell because 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. But if we consider this one, this is a mismatch A to Z mismatch, and therefore mismatch score is minus 1. 1 minus 1 will be 0. Similarly here 2 minus 2 will be 0. So highest score is 3. So 3 is obtained from 5, this cell. So we have put a vertical arrow pointing towards the upper cell. Like that, we have backtracked up to the value in the first row. Okay, we have come up to the first row. Because this value we are not getting from this cell, we cannot backtrack further. We cannot backtrack further. This is the point up to which we can backtrack. So we have gone up to that. Is it clear? So this is the part of obtaining the final value, that is 7. The final score value 7 is obtained by following this path. So this path is important for us, as we know. So now we'll go to this part. We will just take only the arrows and place it in a linear manner. 2 diagonal arrows followed by 1 vertical followed by 4 diagonal arrows. So 2 diagonal arrows followed by 1 vertical arrow pointing towards the upper cell, then 4 diagonal arrows. So this is the final position of the arrows. So if we convert this, now if we want to go back to the sequences, where from these arrows were obtained, the arrows were showing the path starting from this particular nucleotide C in the first sequence up to the nucleotide A in the first sequence. Okay, So this is the place where it is showing the root. Similarly, here also it is, yes, it is covering the entire sequence, T to T. It is covering the entire sequence. So if you go back to the linear graphical presentation of the sequences, if you see, first of all, we will start from the first sequence represented by two diagonal arrows. So they are pointing to T, C and T, because first two nucleotides are to be left out, because in this figure the first two sequence has got no relation to this figure 7. They are left out in the sequence. So this ZZ will not consider. So we have left them out. So our alignment will start from the third. So third C. So because there is a diagonal, so we will take one alphabet from each of the sequence. So from here we have taken C, sorry. From here we have taken C, and from the second sequence also we have taken C. Again there is a diagonal, so we will be taking T and T from both. Then next there is a vertical arrow pointing towards the first row, first sequence. Therefore there will be a gap in the first sequence. We'll put a gap in the first sequence, and we will take the third alphabet corresponding to the gap in the second. Okay. Again there are 4 diagonals, so we will take 4 subsequent letters or alphabets from the first sequence and 4 alphabets from the second sequence, and they will be aligned. Okay. So this is the final alignment. So it has left out 2 nucleotides at the beginning of the first sequence and 2 nucleotides at the end of the first sequence. But the matching was shown, or alignment was done only in the middle part, because the second sequence is a smaller sequence in length than that of the first. Now if you see where there are matches, T to T, C to C, A to A, T to T and C to C. So there are 5 matches. 1 insertion deletion, and there is 1 mismatch. So 5 matches will score 5 into 2, 10. 1 mismatch will be scoring 1 into -1 is equal to -1, and 1 gap or in insertion deletion mutation will be 1 into -2 is equal to -1, because our scores were different this time, 2, -1 and -2. So accordingly the final score will be 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. So if you go back to the figure, it is 7. So this is correct. So we have also verified the value, whether we have tracked it correctly or not. Now we are sure that our tracking was correct. So this is the final sequential arrangement. So this is alignment. So while doing local alignment, therefore a dynamic alignment tool or a software program will consider this particular algorithm for making the final alignment. So now we have taken for this particular demonstration only very small sequences, very short sequences of say around 10 nucleotides or less than that. So that is why we could do it manually. Manually we could do it by doing this table. But you think of the situation when we go for sequence alignment of very long sequences, maybe several thousand long, or maybe genome sequences which contains many millions of nucleotides in one sequence. So it is not possible for doing that kind of alignment by following even the standard methods by using this graphical presentation. You cannot do it manually. It is not possible. So we must have to depend on the computational tools. So these computational tools are the alignment tools. So though all the online and offline alignment tools take into account mostly these 2 algorithms while doing sequence alignment. It is why it can be done within a short period of time. And finally, it also gives us the alignment score on the basis of the scoring matrix that is used. So this is the second alignment, the local alignment based on Smith-Waterman algorithm. I think both Needleman-Wunsch algorithm and the Smith-Waterman algorithm are understood properly by each one of you. If you have got any query, please raise your question. Otherwise, we will go to the next method after this. Is there any question? Okay, you don't have a question. Fine. So then let us go to the next. So next we'll be discussing about another method, what is called dot plot method. So many software or tools, online tools also take into account this method for doing sequence alignment. Of course, dot plot method is a common method used not only for sequence alignment in bioinformatics, but similar method is also used in physical sciences, in mathematics, in statistics, and in other branches of material sciences. So today we shall discuss about this graphical method for comparing two biological sequences for identifying regions of close similarity after the alignment is done. So this is also third alternative which can be used. But there are certain specific disadvantages of using it, and that is why nowadays for doing common sequence alignment, this is not done very frequently. I'll come to that later on. Now in this method, it is a graphical method like the previous one as I showed, but here we do not give any score to matches, mismatches, and insertion deletion as such. It is not based on a scoring matrix, but it is only based on graphical arrangement of the two nucleotides, one in the x-axis and the other in the y-axis. We put one nucleotide sequence in x-axis and the other nucleotide sequence in the y-axis, and then we compare the sequences and we look for the matches. That means the interacting cells or in the intersection of cells, intersections of row and column. Okay, this is one cell where the second column and the second row is intersecting. So therefore, in this we will see whether there is a match or mismatch. Only we will see match or mismatch. Suppose there is a match, then we will give a dot. Give a dot. So in this, I am just putting a cross mark so that it is visible to you from a distance. Okay. So we will put a dot in the graph paper. So dot is not visible to you very clearly. That's why I'm putting a cross here. So it is called dot matrix because we put a dot here in the graph paper. So you see T to T is matching, so it is, we put a dot. Here also again T to T matching, there is a dot. But here T to C not matching, so we will not put any dot. No matching up to this. Here there is another match T to T, we are putting a dot. Similarly, we will go to the next column, see where there are matches. And wherever there is a match, we will put dots. It is very simple, very simple. Then we will diagonally join the dots wherever possible. Wherever possible, we will try to diagonally join the dots. And we will see where we will find the longest line, longest straight line by joining the dots. Okay, so diagonally we will join them and we will try to find out where we are getting the longest straight line by joining the dots. You see, we may have drawn some line between these two also. Okay, these 2 points are also diagonal, but here it is not very long. Only 2 are matching, but here there are 4 matching in diagonal way. So we have joined here. If we want to extend this line further, there is a gap. It is not matching. But if we come down, we find that again there is a small line. Okay. So now we will try to connect it to the next cell, the last cell. You see. Now we can think of a line, imaginary line, joining this particular cell to this line, and again by moving upwards, again we can continue this line by this path. So if we take into consideration this line, there are some breaks and discontinuities. Okay, so we will have to consider these breaks and discontinuities as some evolutionary events, because there is no mass. You see here, this type of horizontal or vertical lines, as we considered earlier in Needleman-Wunsch as well as in case of Smith-Waterman algorithm, this represents a gap in sequence. There is a gap in sequence. It does not continue. It is not continuing. Line is not continuing. There is a break here. Okay. Further, it is continuing from the next step diagonally. So there is a gap here. Similarly, although these three are in the same line, but there is a gap here. There is a break here. It's not a continuous line. Although they are in the same diagonal, but it is not continuous. There is a break here. Break in one cell. So this break usually indicates a substitution. A substitution means a mismatch, and the vertical or horizontal line, if it appears, it indicates a gap. So if we take into consideration the mutational events, so the vertical or horizontal lines will represent insertion deletion, and a break will indicate a substitution mutation, or it is a replacement. So by considering that, if we now make an alignment between the two sequences, you see earlier, without considering the dot plot, there were only two matches between the two if we just arrange them one upon the other. But after doing alignment according to this dot plot matrix, we find that there are so much of matching. You see how we have done it? Like we did previously, here there is a gap. After the first nucleotide, there is a gap. First two nucleotides are okay, Z to Z. Then there is a gap. So gap means break, not gap. Sorry, it is not a gap, it is a break. Break means substitution, means it's a replacement. So we will take Z from here first and A from second. Then for two places, it is showing line. So that means there is similarity or matching. We will take two nucleotides from the first and two nucleotides from the second. You see there is a match. Then there is a insertion deletion, means there is a gap. There is a gap. But this line is pointing towards the first nucleotide sequence, and therefore we will put a gap here. Then there are four matches here. So four matches will be shown like this. AZCT, AZCT, these are the four nucleotides from both the sequences. Now, if we see the number of matches, there are 7 matches. Earlier there were only 2 matches, but now after the alignment is done, the matching score is increasing because there are 7 matches. But as we have not put any score, any scoring matrix to the dot plot method, it is not giving you a total score or final score. It is not used for scoring, but it can be also used for aligning two sequences by following this technique. So this method is called dot plot matrix method for sequence alignment. So how the analysis is done? The dot plot may give rise to different types of figures. As I show you here, it may show you different types of figures. It may be a diagonal line all through. It may be a diagonal line having a break in between. It may be more than one diagonal line. It may be a crisscross line. It can be one diagonal and two small lines like this. It can be broken lines like this, so like that. So there are different ways of appearance of the lines. So how it can be interpreted and analyzed, you see. So regions of similarity appears as diagonal run of dots. So if there is a complete sequence alignment, if you find this kind of line all through the graph, that means that both these sequences are perfectly matching. They are exactly same. They are 100% identical. Okay. Then if you find, sorry, principal diagonal shows identical sequence, then there can be some more sequences. Global and local alignments may be also shown. Say for example here, some sequences are, there is a complete line in the middle, but additionally there are 2 more lines. So these lines also show a local alignment, and they are representing some repeats. I think you know that in the genomic sequences, we find many repeats. Some of the sequence, so to say, arrangements or patterns are repeatedly found in the genome sequences, and they are usually used for that means studying and categorizing and characterizing the gene and genome sequences, and they are usually genetic markers. There are different types of markers. I will not go into that. Some of them may be palindromic sequences. Palindromes represent sequences which, when read from both the side, either 5' to 3' or 3' to 5', they read same, and that is called palindromic sequences. So that means one sequence is just the reverse of the other. If one sequence is the reverse complement of the other, then you will find this kind of diagram. So that will represent palindromic sequences. Then if there is a partial palindrome, some part of the sequence is palindromic, then you will get this kind of sequence, this kind of dot plot. If it represents microsatellites, it will be like this. If it represents mini satellites, it will be like this. If the sequences are homologous but not identical, you will find this kind of graph in the dot matrix. If there is an insertion deletion, as I showed previously, there will be a gap like this, but there will be continuous line. So by this way, you can analyze and interpret the kind of sequences that you are characterizing by dot plot. So dot plot is useful in this case because you can analyze and characterize the sequences about their property. So thank you. This much I wanted to discuss today.